from the frat house. All of you wonderful subscribers and readers of the blog are fantastic at, suggesting ideas and asking questions, asking for specific videos, which I really appreciate because I hit these times where I just can't think. Nothing going on up there sometimes. Big surprise. So one of you wonderful subscribers had asked if I would do a video comparing how I used my DIYFish inserts in my personal size Filofax to how I'm using my DIYFish inserts in my Midori, which is a fantastic idea. You people are smart. Don't ever let anybody tell you any different. You're smart. So I am going to pull out from what I've archived some of my DIYFish version 2 inserts in my personal sized Malden. And so it's version 2, okay? So I just want to be really clear about that. I just want to use them because they're filled in, and that's going to be the best comparison, I think, is seeing how I used them differently. That was specifically the question, was could you show us how you used those maybe differently than how you use what you're using now? And I was using version 2, so that's no longer available. You guys all know, if you've ever seen DIYFish Etsy, shop, she's got a ton of stuff up there. If you have questions as far as, I saw this in the video, this is what I want, what is the closest thing to it, please don't hesitate to start an Etsy conversation with Fish and ask her, okay? Because she knows far better than I do, what's going to be the closest to what I had, because that version's no longer available. So I'm going to flip the camera around like I always tell you, and hopefully gravity will work with us because it's a little bit windy and gravity has not been friendly to me today. And I will show you how I used those inserts, the DIYFish version 2 inserts, in a personal size Filofax, and compare that to how I'm using the DIYFish MTN version 2.2 inserts. Okay? I have gone from those personal size Filofax inserts were 2 pages per day. The ones in my creme brulee now are 1 day per page. Okay? So there's a difference there, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why that difference is working and why I was able to kind of go down to the day per page. It's other stuff in the planner that I changed to accommodate the information that would have gone on that notes page of my day on 2 pages is now in other places, and there's a bee making himself very much at home. So as always, you guys, questions, comments, suggestions, y'all know what to do, right? Okay, I will talk to you soon. Thank you again for the fantastic suggestions. You guys are like the best subscribers ever, I'm telling you. So it's a little chilly out, so I'm going to go warm up, and then I'm going to show you the comparison between these two, okay? There will also be an accompanying blog post, so if you missed something or if you're not clear on something, instead of rewatching and looking for it, if you want to go check out the blog post, feel free to do that as well, okay? Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye. Okay, so here is what the pages that I was using in my Filofax Personal Malden. This is obviously not that. This is a Franklin Covey binder that I have pages archived in because my Malden has a bunch of other stuff in it right now. So, but these are the pages that were in my Malden. So these are DIYFish inserts version 2. Okay, these inserts are no longer available, but the personal size inserts that are available now have pretty much the same layout as these. So it'll give you a rough idea. So that's what this is. This is my archived pages from last year, or beginning of this year, I should say. Here is my planner now. You guys have seen this before. It's a narrow creme brulee from Jennifer Harvey at Chic Sparrow on Etsy. And the inserts in here are the DIYFish MTN version 2.2 day on 1 page inserts. Okay. And then this I brought out because some of what I used to do on my personal size Filofax DIYFish pages, I'm doing in here now. Okay, so first let's look at this one. And I had looked at this before to find a good week. Let's do week 11. Okay. Now, first and foremost, there's the obvious stuff like a size difference. Okay, so I'm going to pull open, there is the weekly calendar and the weekly chart. There's going to be a size difference, obviously, because the notebooks are a different size. This is personal size, height. Okay, and let me get out this week's and show you the weekly chart and calendar on this one. Oh, maybe if my fingers will work. so there's that. I'm going to slide this over, try to keep everything in the frame. See the size difference? The height on the MTN inserts, that's pretty much an A5 height. So right away, if you compare just the calendars, okay, that's one thing I really like about planning in a Midori style binder is I get the extra height, I get the A5 height without the A5 width. I don't want the extra width because it'll be too much for me to carry around considering everything I keep in here. So you do have a height difference here. The other thing you'll notice is this is a flip out. Okay, so on the personal size inserts, see how your week flips out? Here it does not. You have your weekly calendar and your weekly chart. Okay, and then your daily pages start. All right, here, as you open to a day, you can see your calendar for the day. And then this is a day on 2 pages. Okay, this one I went to a day on 1 page because I had that extra height. I'm finding that I don't need the day on 2 pages. The extra height combined with the fact that a lot of the stuff like this, notes that I would take on a particular day, I'm doing them elsewhere. They either go like back here in the projects notebook. If it's something for reference that I know I'm going to be referring back to, they go up here and it's like a commonplace book or just, you know, a reference book. Okay, and then scheduling projects and things like that, scheduling in advance, you know, blog posts and videos, essays, things like that, that I do all of that in here. I have a calendar in here just dedicated to the blog and the YouTube channel and some essays and stuff for the book, so that's all kept separate. A lot of the project stuff in here, if there's YouTube or blog stuff in here or essay stuff in here, it's just a running list of videos I want to make or blog posts I want to write, and a lot of work projects, websites for different people and tech coding and stuff like that. That's the project stuff that's in here. Scheduling all that stuff out and the little checklists is in here. The checklist that I use to make sure I'm not skipping steps and leaving out links and whatnot. Romani and Vicky and I are all going to do projects videos in November. Okay, so you'll see the whole setup then. So anyway, tangent aside, but I wanted to bring that up because that is part of why I can go away from the day on 2 pages, is moving, scheduling that stuff in advance, which honestly at this point I wasn't doing. If I got an idea for a video, I put it right on my task list. A lot of times it would go on my weekly chart, and if I couldn't do it right that day that I came up with the idea, it would be on my weekly chart, and then I would see it, you know, the next day, and I would remember to do it. Here I'm starting to schedule things the last couple months, at least I'm scheduling things out in advance. I think all that brain dumping kind of got my brain going. I've had a lot of ideas, so I'm trying to spread things out a little bit so I don't kind of dump everything on you guys at once. So that's why I brought that up. So because of that, I can go to a day on 1 page. So the height makes a difference. Okay, I have an A5 height in here. I'm going to close this back up so you don't have to hear the dragonfly banging around on things. So I have the A5 height without the A5 width, and I really like that. Having the projects in one booklet in the back. In here, now this is the archive binder, bear in mind, but in my Malden, you know, I had all my calendar stuff in the front, and then I had tabs in the back that was all different, you know, project stuff, work stuff, things like that was all separated into the back. So that is kind of the same idea between this and the field note size. They're in the back. That's what all these tabs back here are. Okay. Let's see, another difference. So you do have that fold out that you don't have in the MTN inserts. Okay, so that you can see, you know, your weekly calendar plus your day on 2 pages. All right, so what I'm finding is a lot of the stuff that I would write, like over here, okay, notes, that I would then index and put into, oh, it's in my other binder, I'd put it into my table of contents. So if I had notes over here that I knew I was going to refer back to, I would mark the edge of the page with the appropriate color, and then I would also put it in my table of contents so that I could find it later on if I needed it, because I didn't carry this many weeks in a row. I generally, when I was carrying my Filofax with the DIYFish version 2 inserts, I would have, like this is March, I would have the current month of March would take up about that much space. Okay, so I would carry March, and then I would have just the monthly calendar. So there's your monthly chart and your monthly calendar. I would have just that page printed out for a couple months in advance, 3-4 months in advance. That's what I would carry. Okay, and that's the other difference. So I would have the current month, and then just the monthly pages for, say, 3 months. It was usually about 3 months, sometimes 4. All right, now in here, I have, right now I have 2 months worth in here. I don't have it like that all the time. Instead of the monthly pages for the booklets, for the DIYFish inserts, these monthly pages, I could print these out and, you know, for September, October, November, December, but I wanted a forward planning calendar that I could really, like, I could use this column, but I've been using that for bills and I kind of like it that way. This calendar, obviously, because it's higher, the boxes are larger than on this one. So there's that one. There's that one. You see the difference? So I do like that. Okay. So for forward planning, I showed you guys this in my my September setup, the August review and September setup video. I printed out the Skinny Jane monthly pack calendars from Rogue Crusade, and I'm using these as forward planning because it's a full sheet that isn't all the calendar grid. I've got room for notes and stuff. That's just working well for me right now. So that's why I did that way. And these I just stuck in here. They're in here completely loose. They don't have a cover on them. They are just on a band that's stuck to this pocket folder. Okay, so that's another difference. Is here I was printing out a few months in advance, just this monthly page. And I wouldn't really fill in the monthly chart in advance, but I did usually, I would have a slew of Post-it notes, usually stuck onto here that referred to this, or this would be all covered with Post-its, like a crazy amount of Post-its. So because of the extra size and the extra note space, I like doing that on there, on those Rogue Crusade pages. Now, one thing that I noticed also, I kind of, in August, I got away from using my monthly chart, and I honestly am not sure why. I don't know if it's a format thing, if it's because it was folded over. This one folds up as well in the you know, if you do like Filofax or Franklin Covey size from DIYFish, you know, this one is a fold out as well. Here's your monthly calendar, and then your monthly chart is on the other side. Okay, same format in here, but for some reason in August, I just wasn't using it like at all. I really didn't touch my monthly chart. Now, what I've done this month is I went ahead and I was tracking like projects and things. Like I said, I'm scheduling a lot of stuff out in advance. I'm sticking to like a blog and a post schedule just because it helps me out. You know, a little more regular content for you guys on a regular basis and not like a big, you know, dump of like 5 videos all in a week. And it just helps me stay a little more organized and a little less frenetic in my head. So I was tracking the projects in here, but I'm finding that I got this back out. I'm finding that tracking them on here is a little bit better because of size. I had a small monthly chart printed out and put in here in my my time tracking notebook at the beginning of September. I shrank one of these down and printed it out, and I did the same for October. And just because I use this to keep track of stuff like days that I do the sharing of the before shots from the planner, the before and after shot comparisons go up once a week. You know, what days did I work on them? What days did I actually get them posted? You know, or what day did I schedule them and what day did they post? Anything like that I was doing in here. And honestly, this calendar or this chart shrunk down to field note size just wasn't working for me. And that's just me. If it works for you, go for it, do it. But I do a little bit better with this. The other reason was I could block out on here the days that Mike is gone this month for hockey. And as I was going through and scheduling out what days I wanted to try to record, what days I wasn't going to be home most of the day so I couldn't record, what days I knew I had to be home during the day so they'd be good days to edit, but maybe not necessarily record, depending on, why I had to be here. So I wanted to be able to see really quickly, okay, these days I know that I'm not going to have help like getting kids picked up from school because he's gone. So it was easier for me to plan out certain videos as far as recording and editing and writing the post up. I had a bunch of site maintenance I wanted to do on the website. I've been able to do that stuff during the day a little more because usually during hockey season, Mike comes home in the middle of the day. Well, I don't always want to be working when he comes home in the middle of the day. I want to be able to have lunch with him. So I tried to fit a lot into where these days are read. Having this on a larger chart in here has helped me to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. I have the same information on here. All the days in red are the days he's out of town for hockey. But this is all like appointment stuff that I have to be at. If Dakota has to work, I take him to work, I pick him up. We had open house at the junior high. We had open house at the high school. A Bloom night at a local, kids play place. So this is all appointment stuff. I don't put appointment stuff over here. The only thing that would be considered appointment stuff would be Mike being gone. I also stopped putting bills down here. I did used to do that. I have too many things piled up here, you guys. Let's see if I can find one that has some on it. Yeah, like see here I would put the bills at the bottom. Okay, and I also at the time was putting the home and away hockey schedule at the top. I may continue to do that. It's still preseason, so I haven't decided in here how I'm going to do that. They go on the calendar already. I may just mark, if it's a road trip, I'll just mark in the box like I did, like I showed you there, just a little bit of red colored pencil. Oh, pardon me. Excuse me, I have a tickle that is never going to quit. So I used to take up all this space down here for bills, and which was fine because I would refer to this to remind myself, posting the before and after comparisons. Well, when I went and filled in this week, that would go on here, and a lot of times it would go on here as well. Okay? So I stopped putting the bills on here. First of all, because I wasn't really paying attention to that chart. When I went back to out of One Book July and went back to planning in a Midori style notebook in August, I first of all wasn't paying attention to that chart, so it's a good thing that I didn't have a bunch of bills written on it because I would have forgotten them. Secondly, in here, rather than writing those bills on the monthly chart, I usually just take a little sticky note, and that's all this column is bills. So I have sticky notes that I've just cut up so they're very small, and this box corresponds to these, sorry guys, it helped if you could see, this box corresponds to the Mondays, this box corresponds to the Tuesdays. So if I have a bill due Tuesday the 9th, I stick the little post-it note over here, and I just check that every week as I'm doing the weekly calendar. I already have the weekly calendar open here, right? So I'm filling all of this in, drawing from what I know our school schedule, picking up and dropping off is, and then anything else I have written over here, open house at Bloom, so I write it over there. So I already have this folded out like this so that I can see it as I'm filling in my weekly chart, and I do that every week, so it's easy for me to remember to just look right here and see what bills are due and what date. And then what I do once once that Monday the 22nd, actually I need to move that, now that will be due again roughly on the 22nd in October. I keep thinking it's October, it's terrible. It'll be due around the 22nd in October, so I just move that little post-it over here to the October one where the other ones are that were already paid. And then when I go to, I already stuck the October one in here just because I printed it out the other day and just wanted to get it done. Those will go in the same thing. I will section out for the Mondays, for the Tuesdays. I'll extend these lines across, and those little post-its will go on there at the beginning of the month. So that's another way that I'm using this a little bit differently. I took those bills off that monthly chart. This is a little bit crooked, isn't it? This is epically crooked. There we go. And really the last thing is just the notes. Well, the notes and the indexing. Like, I always used this extra page for lots of notes, lots of indexing, lots of things in my table of contents. What I'm finding is as the things I'm doing for work are changing, and as I'm scheduling more things in advance for the blog and for the YouTube channel, that I don't need that extra page of notes. And I really haven't been using a table of contents either, because I'm not using an extra page for notes like that. I have 1 page per day. I do put some notes on here. If it's something that I know I need to remember, I try to keep this tasks in the schedule for the day, and that is it. Anything that goes up here is kind of all day stuff. Like Jack's school had their walkathon today. You know, that was a good portion of their day today. So I just put it up there so that I remember it. I haven't really been putting tasks up there, but I don't do a whole lot of notes on here. They either go into kind of my brain dump book. So if something just randomly pops in my head that I would normally write over here and hope that I would remember it, you know, index it, highlight it, put a sticky tag on it, whatever I needed to do, that stuff just goes straight into here, into my brain dump book. And the nice thing about that is this book is always with me, and all of those random little bits and pieces that before might be on this page, you know, I might have an idea on here, and then I may have written, you know, 2 on here. And I would generally be pretty good about doing a daily review and catching those things, but not always. Okay, so that's been the nice thing about having the brain dump book. Look at Liam was coloring with me. It's purple crayon. You know, every little random thing, every idea, every last minute thing, you know, all that stuff that tumbles around in your head, that's all in here. It's done. It's in one spot. So I don't have to go through these pages looking for anything I may have missed. I'm not going to say I don't go through these pages looking for anything I may have jotted down, because I do. But I've really formed the habit of keeping everything right in here. I've also dedicated, you know, this is like a book of lists. So this was a list of documentaries I wanted to see. There's a documentaries, I can't talk, a list of stuff that, like upcoming things, like Dakota's got to get his wisdom teeth done, and we were waiting for after homecoming for that, scheduling his senior pictures, all that good stuff. That's stuff that's coming up, not overly time sensitive, because we're waiting. So it's kind of my waiting for book. And then this book is one project in particular. So see, all these things that I would have had kind of scattered throughout these daily pages, which was fine. I did a pretty good job of keeping track of it, but still, like, some days it was a lot of notes. And having them all in one place has, just as I'm getting busier with the blog and with YouTube and trying to be more on top of it as far as scheduling things, having all of that in one, like, little brain dump book has helped a whole lot. Having one notebook for this big project, for the blog and for the YouTube channel, has helped a lot. It's all in one place. I don't have it scattered throughout the week, because then I'm recopying. Some things I don't mind recopying, but sometimes I'll start an essay, and I would do it in here. I would start an essay on my notes page and then have to sit and recopy it. And I also have Evernote. That's the other thing. I can, if I jotted some notes down on here and at the last minute I'm like, oh, I need to remember that I need to do that. You know, I need to be reminded of that on Friday. I can snap a picture, whatever the note was, upload it to Evernote, put a reminder on it, and the phone will remind me at whatever time I told it to, and it'll show me that snapshot. Okay? So those are really the basic differences about, you know, between how I'm using the DIYFish Midori Traveler's Notebook inserts versus how I was using the DIYFish version 2 personal size inserts in my Filofax. It's, the size thing is a big deal. Having that extra height has really, really made a difference. I gotta start using that monthly chart more, though. So if you guys have questions or comments or anything like that, again, feel free to let me know, okay? Thank you so much. Bye-bye.